सोचा, बस कोई भी लीफ उठाया और उसको लगा दिया. You say you're inspired by the campus, you have to apply your mind there also. तो ये है, ये इसलिए थोड़ा सा, that is why sometimes I feel that I don't know, I can give you there are some tools I can share with you as an ideating tools for coming up with ideas, which I think last semester I did briefly touch on some of those tools, but you have to revisit that. It can't be repeated over and over again. Like Hazel was giving you this example yesterday, I don't know if you paid attention or not. I think for Citibank's logo, how they arrived at that arch was an inspiration from the building, I think. And it gave a sense of protection. And the bank also needs to give you protection with your money.
Actually, that arch was referring to an umbrella. Because two companies merged. It was a Travelink company and Citibank. So they thought of travelers as carrying umbrellas, and then the arch was protection because banks obviously want your money to be safe.
Yeah. So pay attention. You people are not listening. Examples हम लोग बोलते हैं ना, why the entire class is present. The entire class is present for a simple reason that when we're giving feedback to one student, everybody should make sense of it. How many of you all went and looked at the work of R.K. Joshi? I spoke of this person's name yesterday. We all go and look at his work? How many of you all went and looked at the work of Sudarshan Dev? How many of you all looked at the work of Paul Rand? These names have come up in our discussions.
I'm just wondering, how do you guys start this process? Like, do you just start doodling or do you guys start mind mapping? Sachin, how do you start?
No, I do not mind map.
But isn't that the basis for getting what you're putting down on paper is if you have no ideas, how will you put it up on paper? A mind map is basically to take you away from all the literal things, get you to think a little bit. All of you, even in your not all of you, but a lot of you in your logos have been referring to outside the box, but there's very little outside the box because you guys are just cutting out a whole step of the process which involves actually thinking laterally. This doesn't just apply to you. I'm not directing it at you. I'm talking to a class as a whole. I think it's fine to start doodling, but logo is far more than just a visual form. I think it really has to be grounded in meaning, rational, ethos. So yeah, I completely agree with what Anupriya has said so far. And expand your horizons a little bit, you guys. Even when we're giving you references, you don't look at them. How can you create good work if you don't know what the benchmarks are?
So I think this is not just for you. We are talking to the entire class at the moment. So don't get offended.
No, that's what I'm not directing it at you.
Not to you. This is for the entire class.
Yeah,
poor thing that she has a video on and she must be thinking everything.
She's the only one taking it on, but it's not directed at you. It's for everybody.
It's for everybody in the class. Nobody is paying attention.
Do you guys know how to mind map? Can I have a few responses? Everyone's just dead quiet. Do you guys know how to mind map?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you arrive at the first level, the second level, the tertiary, the fourth level. And like where are the interesting ideas? They're not in the first level, right? So why are we constantly seeing first level ideas? Anyway, let's proceed.
Do one thing. पेंटाग्राम की वेबसाइट विजिट करो और सब लोग वहां जाके आइडेंटिटी डिजाइन का खूब सारे बहुत सारे केस स्टडी गो एंड हैव अ लुक Paula Scher specifically, you must look at her work. Okay, that will be an inspiration for everybody. Then there is one more person. I think I remember his second name, Habib. I'll share a link with you. Okay, he's also like Paula Scher. He's like a genius in identity design.
Even Wolf Hollins.
Yeah, so all these, if you all want, we can share these names and some links with you. But please do some homework. Some prep is very important. Mind will not think unless you see good work. Okay.
Shall we move on?
Yeah.
Anushi,
Thank you, ma'am.
anyone willing to go after this actually?
Ma'am, this is Samrithi's work.
Can you zoom a little more?
Yeah, sure.
Is Samriddhi present?
Yes, ma'am. I'm here.
Hazel, how do we want to do it? Should we say it together? Should we? A link has been sent to you. We want to break.
So I thought that the ones who didn't go yesterday, we can just see together. I think there are like 2 more.
Okay.
And then we can probably branch out into.
Yeah, fair enough. Fine.
Okay, so ma'am, here I tried different explorations, and as I look up to the words, it was like a lot of like continuity. It is very versatile, innovative, collaborative, and opportunities. So I wanted to relate it a bit with design elements and principles like construction, unity, emphasis, balance, and everything. So this is here what I try to do. In the 7th one, I like that DOD, which is looking a bit abstract to me as well, but it is also showing the word DOD. And then, like in the 16th one, I was trying to show continuity. Then in the 17th one, I was trying to make like balance out of a thing. So yeah, Sachi, can you please go to the other one? The one above.
Where, Samriddhi?
The second image I'm talking about.
The top has nothing. There's a page below. Do I zoom into that?
This one only. This one only. Yeah, so here also in the 26th month, I was trying to like depict the direction. And then in the 25th one, I wrote that D and as a whole in between to showcase like it is a gate of opportunity or something like that. So that is how I tried to explore.
So, what's your name, Samriddhi? No, Samriddhi, can you have your video on, please?
Yes, ma'am. Give me a moment.
You used a very interesting term. So you ended with this, and it is a gate of opportunities. These are your words, not mine. If you were to take this and visualize it, a gate of opportunities, what will be the visual interpretations of this term? Can you just take the connotation? I mean, it's very bad, I know, but just take that pencil and can you just quickly do a mind map here, a visual mind map here? If you were to visually interpret gate of opportunities, what would you do? And show your, please switch on your video.
Yeah, ma'am. And right now, I cannot think of anything.
You can, don't worry. Don't see. Sometimes, when we become anxious and over-conscious, we kill the ideas. सब तुम्हारे classmates and we are not judging you on your drawing skills and and what you're going to do here. Just whatever comes on top of your mind, just come in. Just pick that pencil and draw it. Or you want to do it on a piece of paper, do it at your end. You don't want to share it with the entire class, but do it at your end. Quickly, I'm giving you 1 minute. Quickly.
Can you just repeat yourself once, like exactly?
You said your last sentence was Department of Design is like a gate of opportunities. I'm saying if you were to visually interpret this term, gate of opportunities, how will you interpret it? Quickly, without overthinking and without getting too anxious. Even if it's a very bad idea, we still want to say it.
Yeah, just a
And
minute.
if you have some words coming to your head related to gate of opportunity, some other words, keep writing that. I'm giving you, 2 minutes, not 1 minute, 2 minutes.
Yeah, ma'am.
How are you getting answer?
That's something.
I said, how are you getting on?
I came up with different words I could relate with it. So I
Okay.
came up with experiences, higher goals and dreams, achievement, and then I came up with new pathways and dedication. So these were the words I came up with. I wasn't so sure about the visual representation.
Okay. So, I think when you're mind mapping, it's important to go with the kind of idea philosophy, which is that there are no bad thoughts or ideas. So you can even come up with something completely I think the idea basically is to reach something that is completely unrelated to where you started from. Like in design, where do interesting ideas come from? They come from the fact that two seemingly unrelated things. I think that's what Gandhi was saying yesterday as well. Like putting the pencil and maybe the spotlight together, or how do these things work together? But to arrive at two seemingly unrelated things, like we're trying to do something that or see something in a way that people have not already seen, right? Like we're trying to arrive at a fresher perspective. So I think a mind map allows you to do that. So, I may start my mind map at yellow, and then from yellow I might go to, I don't know, the sun, and then that has its lots of tangents where it's like warm, hot, whatever. I may come up with the solar system, that's one tangent. The other tangent that, what do I associate yellow with? Maybe it's the National Geographic fame. What do I associate National Geographic with? Maybe somewhere I land up with the idea of an elephant. Now, like what is an elephant to me? Like there is somewhere it resembles strength, but like a genteel nature. Maybe it's brute force. Maybe it's such a kind of bold but compact form. So now I've arrived at something that, it was nowhere near yellow. But I think that's the idea. It's allowing you to think naturally. I'm not going literally. So I appreciate what you're saying in terms of like achievement and things like that. But don't be scared don't limit yourself. Like you can say gate, open, locksmiths, I don't know, time trades, and see where it leads you, because that's how you will come up with like an interesting perspective that's not been done before, that's not been explored before. And that, I think the idea is also to excite yourself with possibilities, because if you're not excited about the idea, when you put it down on paper, you're going to feel like, "Arey, what is this drudgery? One more doodle, one more sketch." So, you get, like, is it making sense what I'm saying?
So, Samriti, what did you come up with this?
I came up with the words like new experience, dreams, higher goals, achievement, opportunities, pathways.
Okay, hold on. Very interesting. So this is also your lead. You came up with the word opportunities. You came up with the word dreams. You came up with the word, what was the other thing that you said?
Achievement.
Achievement. And your first term was, it's a gate of opportunities. Isn't it? Now you have a D here. I'm just looking at the form that you're presenting. Now supposing it's a solid D. Right? It's a solid D. And inside that, you have like an open door instead of this hollow space. It's a door which is opening. Okay. And it has a knob here. So basically what you're saying is design is open this doorway and there are opportunities. Or it's an open door and the connotation changes.
Yes, ma'am.
What were the other things that you said? What were the other words that you said?
Ma'am, I said pathway,
Pathway,
new experience.
new experiences. So supposing this is your day, and I'm doing very random things, they may not make sense, but I'm not going to be embarrassed, because what I'm trying to tell you is that there are ways to think. This is your day, D, okay, and this is a. Sorry, I don't mind my horrible drawing. मुझसे कंट्रोल नहीं आ रहा है इस पे. सपोजिंग यही ले लेते हैं, चलो ये वाला लेते हैं इस वाले में, ठीक है. और ये आपका ओपन डोर है सपोजिंग, ठीक है. यू सेड पाथवे, तो तुमने यहाँ पे 3 स्टेप्स क्रिएट कर दिए, 4 स्टेप्स क्रिएट कर दिए. तो तुमने क्या किया? स्टोरी बनाई.
Yes, ma'am.
So what is happening is एक खुला दरवाजा है यहाँ पे. There is an open door. There are steps here and there is an alphabet D. What is the story?
Really, you
So,
are going above. Yeah.
right. So,
Yeah.
that's how you build a narrative. I just hope everybody is there. Half of them might have just left.
I think the other interesting word Samriti was dreams. I think you said dreams.
Yeah. I said day, like the dreams.
You know, like dreams, I think that's also very interesting because like there is, you know, the idea of dreaming big, and I think dreams allow you to have a sense of whimsy. You know, how do you interpret whimsy? That it can just be with lines, it can be, you know, whether, or even pathways, you combine the two. You know, so like, is it like interweaving? Is it, you know, what is it doing? So I think you yourself are coming up with interesting sort of starting points, and I think if you think about them, if you start thinking along, you know, like Andrea said, like building a narrative, I think it will be exciting for you, and you'll be able to interpret this with a fresher perspective.
Like, for example, you said the word dreams. Now I'm taking the same narrative here. Samriddhi, can you see this drawing here? It is a D. It is a three-dimensional D, and it has got an open door. Okay, and there are steps which are leading you to that door. Now, supposing what I do is in that space inside, I create a star. So what you're doing is you're reaching for the stars,
Yeah.
or I do something else. Maybe this D, maybe from inside of this D, the door is open, but there are like a small star, bigger star, and a bigger star. So something's coming out. Three stars are coming out, and it just goes on in the space. Or so what is happening? There's a story which is getting built.
I'll work on that one.
You don't have to work on this idea. I'm saying I'm giving you tools to think.
Sure, ma'am.
And this is not just for you, this is for the entire class. So everybody's going abstract. Well, yes, abstract lines will connect at some level, but that connection also has to be well thought out. It can't be, you know, drawing some two intersecting triangles, showing an interesting form and saying, yeah, I mean, we think spontaneously as to how we connect it to our meaning. It won't work like that. You have to think it through before you go ahead with it. Okay, I hope this helps.
Yeah, ma'am. It.
Yeah? So you now I think re-ideate. Don't stick to just DOD. There are far more possibilities.
Sure, ma'am. Can I stop sharing?
Who's next?
I think Rudra did not show his work yesterday. Is Rudra present?
Yeah, he was.
Yes, ma'am, I am present, ma'am. Manush will present. I'll present after her because I'm in her group. That's all.
Ma'am, 2 minutes. I'm just trying to open.
Ma'am, Kavya here. So, ma'am, on the first day, I showed something very similar to like what Kanitya ma'am just suggested. So, like I had an arch kind of a structure, and D was there in the negative space. So, I thought of similar ideas like stairs and stars. So, can I? And I also thought of.
Please share your screen. Just let us see what you're talking about.
Ma'am, I am connected from my phone. I'll share after Manushi.
Okay.
Ma'am, is my screen visible now?
Manushi.
Yes, ma'am. So yesterday, then I started exploring after the previous day's review. So so I thought of going with words like collaborative, exuberant, and so I tried creating forms where I can show the collaborative nature. Here I have tried playing with the bricks, and then kind of abstract form, but then I also used the letters and you. So I did this.
Manushi. So you able to make it out?
Ma'am, I wasn't well yesterday, so
It's a day before yesterday also when you were and said the same thing. थोड़ा energy, थोड़ा happiness. Be excited about your first.
yes, ma'am. And then I came up with this form. Like if I found this quite interesting. And ma'am, when you were talking with Sampriti about the like creating opportunities, so like I thought of this thing like adoring.
What are the connotations of this right now at the moment?
Ma'am, about
What are the, if you look at this image that you're showing us,
yes, ma'am.
what are the meanings that you will associate with this?
So for this, I thought like there is a door of opportunities. So I have made the door, structural door, and then there are these steps which helps us to
Which reach that. So, how will that door look? How will the steps look? Whether it will be half closed door, whether it will be full closed door, or it will be closed door. Every time you change these things, the meaning also changes. What is the shape of the door? What is the height of the door? What is the width of the door? So you have to think of many things before you say, yeah, the thought is there, a door of many opportunities. And when you look at the steps, when you climb the steps, which means you're moving higher, going higher.
yes,
So
ma'am.
what are those keywords that are written in your brain? Are they getting connected? Is it getting associated with some positive meanings? Is it suggesting growth? Is it suggesting thriving? Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So all these things will start falling in place. So how will this door be? How will the steps be? That you then have to start working on. बाकी अब ये एंगल तो बहुत देखिएगा सीरियसली तुम्हारा फ्लावर ज्यादा इंटरेस्टिंग है there is another form that you created. This is also interesting.
I feel that with the flower, the beginning form was far more interesting because it was more representative, and then it's become very literal. I think that had a more kind of ribbony effect, and this has become more kind of flower. I thought that had far more possibilities of even interpretations rather than. So I would say explore that form. Even can you go down, Manusha? Even 13, I feel like there's something interesting happening there. I feel like, this kind of lines which can be parts, it's a little bit musical. I think that has some interesting possibilities.
So I have to explore more still.
Okay. Even 14, that's
Yes, ma'am.
interesting from me to what I do.
Should we move to the next student?
Okay, so I'm Mohil. So in the beginning, I just tried to do something simple, just to show like there is Nirma over here, and then the middle that is Nirma, or you can call it the world, and then it's like very global and it's clouded in the sides. In the beginning, my ideas were very simple, but then while I was doing that, I got an idea of a maze. Because when a student enters a university, he goes through a lot of changes and learnings, and then he improves. But then I realized, although I could work on this design a lot more because right now it's not good looking, but I could take the maze idea further. And then I tried to do some curve maze, and then I got an idea for doing something with proximity. So I tried something with abstract, and that's after that is when I started getting the ideas. I use NU with some basic shapes. It kind of looks bold and professional. It looks simple and professional too. And then I started playing more with it. It has shapes of semicircle and a triangle. It goes well with the design and the architecture because Nirma's building has a lot of straight curves and straight lines and curves like arches. Yeah, so I was exploring that idea a little bit more. And while I was doing that, I got an idea for a shield. So we already have a shield for Nirma, but then it's too complicated. So I thought of a simpler shield, and then I was exploring more with that. And also that I got negative space that looks like a leaf or some growth, or it can also look like a flame for growth. And then 42 and 43 are just explorations of my previous day's works. I just took it forward, but then it didn't work out. And in 44 again, I went back to the shield idea, and I tried more variations with it. And then 45, I tried with the cube. So when we're doing something in design, I think in every design, I think cube is very important because in communication design, we might use it for like some 3D stuff, I guess, and maybe industrial design students make some prototypes with solid cubes. And also that I didn't just use a normal cube. It looks like a closure form of a cube. And also that I wanted to show a form of students kind of being happy. And then when I read the brief also said that the logo has to be like bold and exuberant and thriving. So it can also look like a knight's face, knight's armor. I think I tried to include 3 different forms in it. And then while I was doing the cube idea, I got another idea for another shield. I included the Nirma's arch, but then it's upside down. Then again, I tried that again to show that Nirma is thriving.
What are your, sorry to interrupt you.
Yes, ma'am.
What do you think after listening to the feedback
Yeah.
given to other students today and yesterday? What do you think you need to do now?
I really have to explore more, but I was going to show this yesterday to ask if I was going in the right direction, but there was no time issue.
The right direction is being discussed with other students, and if you've been in the class, you would know what is the right direction now.
Yes, ma'am. I always listen to class.
You always listen. So what are your next steps going to be now?
I think I could.
Hazel asked me to go for a minute.
Sorry? Okay, go on. You were saying?
Yes, ma'am. I think I can take forward the cube idea to make it more simpler and maybe try to fit more things to it.
You mean 50?
45, 50, and 48. Yeah, those three. Or any of those.
Okay. What was the cube idea supposed to be?
It was supposed to show a student raising his hands, and then also depict a knight, and also that it forms a cube enclosure so that
Why a
it is
knight?
designed. Yeah, knight is bold.
Knight is bold.
Yes, ma'am. And 50, there's a negative space because I thought 45 and 48 could look like Christ the Redeemer, maybe. So I tried to do something with negative space. It can look like a tree, maybe, like a growing tree. And again, for the 51st idea, I just took forward yesterday's N and U, an abstract N and U, which looks like it's flying like a bird. So I don't think 52 and 53 works. 53 might work. 51 also looks like a flow, a path, kind of a river kind of a thing. So I think I can suit this because a river with a lot of bends is kind of like thriving at.
Okay, but this doesn't look like a river with a lot of bends.
Okay, fine. Yes,
No, you don't have to agree with it. But
yeah.
I think a river, even when you depict it like in an icon, it would be more sort of windy, right?
Okay. But it's mainly supposed to be two birds flying, one up and one down.
Okay.
That's what I'm trying.
So what was 36 supposed to be?
36. Yeah, it was supposed to be some proximity of Nirma's architectural shapes, and it can also have design shapes.
To me, that form is quite interesting. Also, the idea of a maze. I think, kind of charting your own course through something that is complex and then arriving at, this destination that is rewarding. That's how
Yes.
I see it. And I wonder if you might combine that with the idea of a cube, because
Okay.
I feel like it gives it that additional layer of perspectives and complexity. You don't have to, I'm just thinking aloud. But I
Yes.
feel like that might strengthen your idea since you have the idea of a cube already.
Yeah, I'll definitely try that.
And
I think you've given him very specific brief how he can combine these two ideas together. Besides exploring more and not going on a very, very abstract tangent, I would suggest that at least do what Hazel just told you. Come up with
Yes,
the
ma'am.
different perspectives of the cube and a maze within it. Maze
Okay.
forming inside a cube, basically three-dimensional iterations.
Yes, ma'am. But it cannot be too complex either, right?
I mean, complex
lot of
enough to
this.
suggest complexity, but not so much that it can't be reproduced in smaller sizes or, keeping in mind graphic design constraints, print constraints.
Okay, sure, ma'am. I'll try.
And I think even 36 is interesting. I think there are possibilities taking it forward because it's in a sense a modular form. So I think you can play with thickness proportion, you can add texture in terms of lines, dots, and see where that goes if you feel like it.
Yes, ma'am. I'll try those two.
Alright. And
Have you seen Hero Honda's logo?
Yes, ma'am.
The new logo? So,
Just H, right? Much.
yeah, just the edge. Now, they've eliminated some lines and yet it gives a very three-dimensional feel to it. It's constructed within a cube.
Yeah,
So, sometimes by showing less, you can show more.
sure.
So for your mains, you can have an approach wherein you do away with some lines, and yet it gives you it gives you a sense of a maze. There may be lines which are not there, but yet it looks very complex.
Yeah.
it depends on how you construct it.
Yes, ma'am. I'll keep exploring the maze and the 36th idea. Maze with a cube and what you say.
Yeah, but then this time you have to come up with some resolution.
Yeah, sure. ma'am.
Because by Saturday we are finishing the individual logos with the process. You know the process is very, very rigorous.
Yes, ma'am.
So by Saturday we have to close it because next week we are moving on to the other things.
Yes, ma'am. I mean, till now it was pretty slow because I had to come up with many ideas, but now I can work faster because I know what to do now.
Well, you are a storyteller. I was very busy and I was thinking of so many ideas. And
No, but actually, I am working all the time.
okay, great.
That's-
Happy to hear that.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, bye. Next student.
Ma'am, I'll be sharing my screen now.
Before, Rishabh, can I show? I just had to show one form.
Yeah, okay.
How many people left? There's Rishabh, there's Kavya, anyone else?
I'm Prachi.
Prachi, okay. Anyone else? Okay.
So ma'am, Priyal here. So yesterday I wasn't able to show. Manushi, can you zoom in a bit? So ma'am, I'll start with my second idea because for that I thought I took the word fun from the abstract and the puzzle. So a puzzle is always fun to solve, and in design there are always different kinds of element, but in a puzzle they always fit in with each other. So that's what I thought. And in the fourth one, I thought of the two present branches that we have, ID and CD. They are so different, but yet they fix with each other, and also with the collaborative nature because there are open ends on both the sides that say that many others can also fit in. In the seventh one, I wanted to show the continuity and also some metamorphosis. Like it is starting with one thing, but it is ending in another thing. That it is starting from a triangle and then going in the semicircular form and going out, showing some continuity and something like that. Eighth one is another exploration, the form exploration I did of that only. So ma'am, actually I wasn't getting any more ideas, so I started with I was just sketching a 3D cube, and from that I thought maybe something like NU, the basic thing, can come up. So from that, the filling up the squares, I came up with 11th number, and on and an abbreviation of that was 12th one. Then I thought maybe NU and design. So from that I came up with a whole another sheet of 11.1234. And when and yes, after yesterday's feedback, using some familiar forms, I thought of a diya as a representation, as it also connotes a lot of things such as culture and light and knowledge, which are also some of the descriptions of DOD, like it has culture and knowledge and light. So that's what it was.
Who's the presenter? Priyal. Priyal.
Yes, ma'am.
Priyal, switch on your video, please.
Can I just say that 6, 7 and can you move to the other side? Can you move left?
Sorry, ma'am.
That 3. I just feel like they're so reminiscent of NID. To me, it actually, it feels like a spin off of their current logo, all 3 of them.
Yes, ma'am.
I think 12 is interesting. Feel like it's an interesting kind of form happening there with different planes. Is this your second round of explorations, Priya, or is this your first?
No, ma'am, it is second. First
Okay,
one.
can you show me the first?
Sorry, ma'am, I couldn't hear.
Can you show me the first round of explorations? Okay. What do you feel excited about? Feel like looking forward from a meeting?
From the first one, ma'am, I feel excited about the 12th one, then 14th, even 8th. I find it interesting, 11th, and
Okay.
19. It has some sort of dynamism, but I'm not so sure it is yet refined.
I think here you also have to, like we were saying, start thinking of a narrative. I think that is missing. Like for example, the idea of darkness to light is an interesting one, but a diya is a very literal representation. So I feel like you need to think about your ideas a little more clearly. When you have clarity in your ideas, I think it results in stronger visuals. So build a narrative. Like Priya was saying, what is the story? Right?
Sure, ma'am.
I think that's it.
So I'll try to work in that direction and go with some more ideas, explore more, because I don't think this is enough right now.
I think somewhere personally, I feel like somewhere it was still, the surface, and I feel like you have the potential to, dig deeper and make interesting connections. So sit with yourself for a bit, sit with a mind map, see what connections you can make. Look at Sudarshan Dhee's work, look at R.K. Joshi's work, look at Paula Scher's work. And I think it will spark something.
So, ma'am.
Yeah?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you play? Can't hear you.
There's
Ma'am,
not
you are on
much-
mute.
Sorry. There's not much she can take forward at the moment. There is just one form which I saw today, which I felt interesting in your today's sheet, 11 number. Can you just go to that? Yeah. Can you just zoom into this a little? So here your starting point is, I think, N and U. But
Yes, ma'am.
something very interesting is happening here. The way you try to just give me the right to allocate. So the way this line is forming, continuous. So that the same angle, if you can bring it here and here and here, then what happens? But somehow, I'm just thinking that if you cut it too much, will it start looking like a Z? While it's very interesting, it must look like that this is something where you can enter. This is a gateway or a doorway.
Yes, ma'am.
That kind of feeling, if you can create, it's really nice. But if you're creating a three-dimensionality here, so this should also have maybe a similar treatment. So this I think it still has some possibilities, but clearly you need to do more.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
There are quite a few more people here.
There are?
There are quite a few more people.
Okay.
There's Rudra, there's Tanishka, Kriti, Ankit.
Okay, by 11:20 or something, we'll finish them and then we'll take them.
Yeah.
Okay. HDFC बैंक कौन गया था?
Manushi, can you just go down a bit?
I think it's interesting how we imbibe certain logos in our visual vocabulary and we don't even know, that we're reproducing them. I'm sure it's not intentional, but I think these things are just very strongly embedded in our visual vocabulary.
So, ma'am, for the first one, I started with a simple frame, and I actually had this upside down. So then I realized it seemed something like probably a logo for a chat company or something, like Messenger or something. So then I flipped it, and then I also realized that it kind of formed a D also inside. In the second one, what I wanted to show that Nirma offers a lot more exposure, even inside the community and outside as well. So that is what I wanted to show. In the next one, I have the simple form of D, and it's like leading in the same circle, in the same chain. So that way.
No, seriously, Samriti, Tanishka, do you have an account in HDFC Life? Tell me.
No.
Sure. No, two of your forms really. This reminds me of HDFC Bank while it's a D, but acha hai. I'm just trying to say this just so that it becomes a little lighter.
So yeah, in the fourth one, like I've written that there's individuality coming together. So you have the path also that is kind of being formed. So you are free to choose your way. The fifth one, it's a simple D form. It's reversed at the bottom, and there's like this connecting line between them. It also forms DOD. In the sixth one, it's the same form from the above. I've just taken it in a different way and put it together. Anishi, can you go down? Yeah. So in the seventh one,
So pencil with a Wi-Fi connection.
yeah. Like I wanted to say that it's like a network of thoughts, and where we put things together and we make it happen that way.
Your efforts are very well appreciated. At least somebody is thinking differently.
Thank you. So in the seventh one, I have these kind of semicircular forms, and you have two circles on top of it. It also represents this maybe the arms of arms and head of two people. So one is smaller and the other one is bigger. So it's kind of embracing and nurturing. So even Nirma has that philosophy as a community. In the eighth one, so eighth and ninth are basically the form, the outer form, contour of it. It was taken from a bulb. So I've broken it down into two ways. So you have the concentric, so the circles that represent idea, growth, and development. And then the next one, I just took it forward and added a pencil somewhere. So that like you're developing ideas. This is a place where you develop ideas that way. And like I said, for the next one, like it's a hub for ideas, network of ideas. And in the next one, it's like open to possibilities and opportunities. So this is where things start becoming more concrete. So this is like the door, the passage leading you to this place.
I think some very interesting ideas, Tanisha. You know what I really like is that in the, you know, where you said developing ideas, the pencil and the light bulb. I feel like those two forms are highly recognizable and in some ways cliche, right? But what I like is that you combine these two forms interestingly. So you know you're stepping away from the cliche. I feel like it's a clever kind of it's a clever way of dealing with these cliches. You know what I think would make this stronger is what makes the light bulb interesting is that you're alluding to the idea of a light bulb versus representing it. I think with the pencil you're representing it directly, and I think if you were to even allude to the idea of a pencil versus representing it so in such an illustrative manner, I think it would make for a much stronger visual. I think same for the network of ideas. It's an interesting kind of story that's coming out of it. But you know, like the three lines, just you get that this is Wi-Fi. I think if you were to do the same thing, if you were to simplify and pare back the pencil as well, I think it would make for a stronger visual. And you know, there's like sometimes less is more. So I think the subtlety adds to the cleverness of an idea versus being illustrative or, you know, showing like a complete picture. Okay. Now can you go on? I think the individuality coming together is also interesting, and I see how the frame on the left side starts to look a little bit like HDFC. And sometimes, you know, like tiny things make a form less recognizable in terms of what you associate it with. So I'm wondering if, you know, maybe just rounding the corners off just a little bit or the edges off just a tiny bit. Like, you know, in Illustrator where you have that corner radius, and if you set it to the tiniest bit, it just gives this idea of like a softness, but not actually like rounding it off into like a, you know, not like a baby typography kind of round.
Yes.
You get what I mean? So I don't know, maybe that will make it more interesting and less recognizable as something else. But I think it's a good effort. I think there are some interesting possibilities. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with you. She's done very good work. And I like the way she's explaining some of her concepts. When she's saying that it's a network of ideas. What did you say? What was the term that you used?
Yeah, I think it was that only. Yeah.
Very, very interesting and a very powerful thought. But you can go a little non-literal with that. So when you're thinking of, when you're visualizing a pencil, okay, what will be the visual representation of a pencil? Can it get better than this? Are some lines in a pencil unnecessary which you can do away with, and yet it will look like a pencil only. So it revisits some of your basics like Gaston law of closure. So if you remove some lines, still it will give you that feeling of a pencil. But then you say network of ideas. So the minute you said network of ideas, the first thing that came to your head was the Wi-Fi, which connects you, which gives you a network. Right? How do you break away from that thought? So explore on the word network and the pencil, and how two different forms. When you think of the word network, some more thoughts will come to you. And how will you connect that with the pencil? You will emerge with a different visual story. So while the basic thought is there, the idea of a pencil is interesting, network of ideas is interesting, but you have to ideate further on the word network. Same goes for developing ideas. This is like a pencil, and there is you said this is inspired by the form of a bulb, correct?
Yeah.
However, something very interesting is emerging here. Now, this is just
Hello. Hello.
am I audible?
Yeah, I actually got disconnected for a bit.
Okay.
There
So
was
this
some
was-
network issue.
Yeah, here also the same thing happened. This is a very interesting idea. One thing I think Hazel told you that you could round off the edges just to break away from that very strong visual of HDFC. What you could also do is that you could just remove this one small portion here, square here. So this would also help you break away from a very strong resemblance with the HDFC. But as a thought and as a visual, this is excellent. So what it is essentially does is that one is the concept of individuality, different people coming together, and yet it is creating like an interesting form. It gives you a feeling of different pathways, right? You can take any direction. So that is a very strong visual connotation that I can see in this. So this I definitely feel that you should take further. And the pencil ideas are interesting, but you need to develop them more. This I thought can be very interesting, the first one, the frame of thoughts. But this still looks like a speech bubble, an inverted speech bubble. Maybe if you take it like this, it just becomes a little quirky.
Ma'am, I think I lost the connection after you said that there was something interesting and out of developing ideas. I put it in the chat box as well. Could you repeat? Sorry.
I don't know where I lost. Um, did you hear my comments on this D, HDFC like D?
No, ma'am. I think I lost you after you were trying to explain something about developing ideas, the bulb and the pencil one.
Okay, so for your D, I was saying that because it has a very strong resemblance with the HDFC logo, and to break away from that, what you could do is, and one idea which Shekhar said, you can round off the edges a little bit. That will be helpful. Another thing that you could possibly do is that you could remove a square from here. This portion, if you just eliminate it. This goes on, right? Then you will not have any resemblance to the HDFC. Even if you leave this one as it is, still it will be a different form. So what I like about this idea is that it looks like you are at the crossroads, and any student who comes to a university is at the crossroads. It's here to make a career, right? And then you have these many options which you can take.
Yeah.
So it gives me that kind of a very, it can be interpreted both ways. One, you are at the crossroads, and the other is that, you have these four pathways, different pathways that you could take. And everybody has their own individual journeys. So, because the formation of D is not with regular shapes, so it still tells that story. It tells the story of the D, and it tells the story of the individuality.
Yeah.
So that
And you said something
about frame of thoughts. Yeah, I quite like that thought of frame of thoughts. But how do you relate it to your belief?
Yeah, okay.
So how do you relate it to your belief is something that you need to think about. And if it is a frame of thoughts, it looks very quirky, and I think something in your belief looks less quirky. But just try and see how you can relate it to it. But you have some interesting ideas to take forward. The pencil ones can be developed very well. And this D is absolutely, it's a great idea standing out of the crowd.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am, Devanshi will share the screen for me.
Ma'am, Rudra here. So after at first I showed these forms which were selected, I explored more on them. So in the first one, I have just made a composition of N and U, and in N and U, in U in between, I have added DOD, which is like a circular form. So it looks like it is a circle, 3 circles over there, but it is written DOD over there. And I also added the street light which is there in Nirma, in the end of the U. In second, I have just used it our holdings which are there for each and every institute all over the Nirma. So I have used that element in it. Third, I have tried to, in third and 7, I have tried to show the library component of our Nirma, that in every department has a library, and that way. In fourth, I had tried to show a chain kind of thing, and also infinity kind of a thing, including N and U, and adding design to it, so we can have all of it with other institute as well. And if I had tried to show like a bars kind of a thing to show strength. Um, in sixth, I have added this squares in NNU, so like it can represent different institutes of Nirma, and also added this holding of design. So like in the square, which can have different colors associated with different types of institute of Nirma, and we can show design as in, so every institute can have their own individual like that way. In eighth and ninth, I sort of kind like taken this circular form because I think like circle it's like a very simplistic form and can like associated design kind of institute. So like if something is like it is loading and something is in process. In 10th, I had taken inspiration from a bolt. So like a nail which will like hang it on, can hang anything on it. So it will hold up the thing or frame or anything. So like as an idea, taking that we are building up any nail, so can anything can be lifted on it. So like a powerful listener statement. In 11th, I tried to explore with basic forms. I like circle, triangle, and rhombus. In 12th, I had given this N, U, and design in between. 13 also the same way as in I tried to with like a bold or nail. In 14 and 15, I have tried composing with different elements like geometry, triangle, circle, and square. In 14, I had tried like a diary kind of a thing that based in a design. We do have a journal, or like every art-related student or design student has maintained a journal. So I tried that. In 16, I have tried to show this flare by using this flares that free like a sort of a movement with it. Okay, it is like flowing. In 17, I had taken this existing form of a shield from our existing logo and giving an form of U and N under it. So, like, yeah. And in 18, I just took it further and developed it in pencil or a stylus form. So we generally like use pencil or a stylus to design or to start with anything. So I like use and then in N and U. In 19, I have tried to like add DOD in the form and like spotlighting as a symbol of spotlight that who anyone like comes in like Nirma, maybe that we can Nirma like has a caliber, or maybe they nurture as in to that anyone individual can be like in the spotlight. In 20 and 21, I had this idea from this art palette we had. So like we do have a different colors and on a palette. So anyone can associate that it will be a design institute or something. In 22, I had this like a puzzle or a block as we have like can extend it. Yeah.
Which ones do you think are promising?
Ma'am, I quite like the 9th, 10th, the 18th one, and 20th one.
Sorry, what is the 18th one again?
Sorry, ma'am, I like lost you. I couldn't
What
hear you.
What was the 18th one?
In 18th one, the core idea was like that it is existing from our logo, like which is existing is a shield. So the shield represents like a form of a U, and under it it is ends that N U, and the whole form looks like it's a stylus or a pencil.
I think if you want to take this forward, I feel like I appreciate the fact that you've developed a narrative around this, but I feel like visually it looks like that arm kind of thing with an N has just been kind of superimposed on it. It's not integrating well. So I think if you want to take this forward, you really have to start looking at integration. I actually think 9 was pretty interesting. The idea of a nail, it being this kind of load-bearing thing, even though tiny. Also, I think that just that form, I think there's a lot that you can do with it because you keep changing the orientation of it. Maybe, I don't know, maybe there's typography also that can be developed from it. So I feel like that's interesting. But all in all, Rudra, I feel like I think you need to think about it in terms of the brief. Like I still feel like you're going very much towards the tangible. Like looking at the idea of books or like something that is on campus or the idea that somebody maintains a journal. The idea of a palette. So I appreciate the rationale behind that. I feel like isn't that more geared towards arts than it is towards design? So if you were to use that, I would say, you really have to be clever about how you use it. What, is there something else that can be brought into that form to make it interesting? Or can you develop a narrative so that it's more leaning towards design than it is towards art? I think spend some time mind mapping because that idea of the nails is interesting. The idea of the narrative you developed in 18 is interesting. I think it's still the form still has to be resolved. But I think your ideas need to be a little better thought out so that it can translate into a stronger visual.
Okay, ma'am.
Does that make sense? You can definitely take 9 forward and see where you go with it.
Okay, ma'am.
For example, right now you have it in a line. Can it be in a grid? Or what else can you introduce into it? Can some of it be in blocks or can some of it be formed by lines? What other ideas, what other narratives can you bring into this idea that you started with to make it that much stronger?
Okay, ma'am.
Absolutely agree with most of what you said. Clearly, 2021 are more inclined towards arts. 18, while it gives a pencil, but it looks very craft-like. Then I like those simplified circles, but I need to understand the origin of that thought from Rudra. What is the origin of that thought? What were you thinking when you do that? Right.
Yeah, so ma'am, I will thought that a nail like we anything we hung up on like a nail, it मैम होता है ना मैम कि नील हमारा पूरा जितना भी उस पर लाइक फ्रेम और समथिंग एज हंग ऑन इट लाइक उसका मतलब पावर वो लाइक वो
No, I can't understand what to explain. It really is not getting what you're trying to say. Can you just give me the right to annotate? I'm talking about this one. This idea. How did you arrive at these circles?
Okay, so yeah, ma'am. Like I look upon a, like as an taking inspiration of a nail. Like I first saw a nail, so like the form really like inspired me to like do some doodling. So when I doodled, I like so like I can show from a nail like it is something like a
Can I
it
see your
looks like thing or
process
it
of
is not
doodling?
outside.
Can I see your process of doodling from a nail to arriving here? Can you show me that process right now?
Okay, ma'am. So ma'am, can I? Ma'am,
Right
I'll
now.
upload in a minute.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I need to see it. Because maybe there's something which I want to see. It's not there in this.
Okay, ma'am.
I'm waiting, just upload that immediately.
Yeah.
Rudra, are you there?
Yes, ma'am. It is uploading.
Okay. I think in the meantime we can take the other some other student.
So Devanshi will share the
Yeah, Devanshu share. We'll come back to Rudra in a minute.
Ankit is left from.
Which one? Sorry, which one? Fifth one. Okay. Ankit, you have to be a little faster in explaining because we have a lot of students and then we have to see a lot of other work as well. So if the concepts are similar in some of these, just one line, just explain quickly. I told yesterday, if you were there in the class, that please come prepared. Write down explain each of your option in one or two lines and read it out so that it closes faster. And you have to be a little louder. We are hardly able to hear you. Also, can you switch on your camera? Yeah, much better. Thank you. The 11th one is the top view. Oh, okay. That's interesting. Very nice. Can you give me the right to annotate once? Uh, can you just tell me which ones, what's written here? What number is this? Is this 14? And this is? So, okay. Okay, so what is your rationale for this one? 14? Okay. Okay. It's Kodak logo, I think. Excellent work, Katya. Seriously, I'm very, very happy to see what you've done. Must really appreciate your effort. Seriously, I'm so happy. I love this one. Absolutely love this one. The only problem I thought was there in this was you can do away with this center. Okay, and simplify it a little further. So the pathway that you created can end here, where the white space is. It can end here. And it can be a little elongated and see how the buildings can fit in. Basically, a little bit of exploration of this is needed. Excellent. And it has such a strong resemblance with Mumbai University. It has such powerful and very strong connotations in terms of growth, in terms of reaching your goals, reaching a destination. It has such very powerful connotations to it. See how it is aligning with your brief, read the brief, and see what are the keywords which come out strongly when you see this visual. It's definitely explore this one. I absolutely love it. Even this one, when you said no, that this is the top view of Nirma University. And if it is the top view, then it makes sense to take something like this. But what is happening here is this cross is blocking the way. So see if you can do away with this. Because then what it does is then it then joins the entire building. It joins everything. Here, this cross in the middle, it's blocking. So again, explore this further. Keeping to the top view of Nirma, explore this further. Even this is excellent. I absolutely love it. This is a great idea. Even when you explain this started to make sense. So I'm very happy with what you've done. How do you now write a concept note for each of these ideas, and how does this align with your paper? That is your next step, and then you have to start. Even this one is very interesting. You can do away with this on top. I don't know what this is, and take the proportion of the arch, the actual proportion of the arch. If you want to keep like a door here, then it makes sense to make this darker and this outside periphery just with an outline. So some of these explorations, when you explore the form further, you will know what to do. I mean, I don't want to literally feed you. But excellent ideas, and I'll leave it actually that way, because I think you already on the right track. So you will be able to figure out many things on it.
Yeah, I agree. I think I really appreciate the diversity of your ideas, just the number of things that you've explored, and completely agree with some of the ones that she's marked out as interesting. I would say that you're at a really good starting point on it, but now you don't have to adhere to the literal place from where you started. Like now you can start to take it further and see, look at it in terms of form, also write, see how you can relate it back to the brief. For example, this aerial view one, I think it's a really interesting starting point. But now, what you do, for example, it starts to look a little sharp to me because of the cross in the middle. So can you break it up so that you have diagonal lines, but it's not literally like something that's kind of incisive? Can you round off the corners a little bit? So I think there's lots of possibilities. You're at a really good starting place. So I leave it there.
Yeah, good work. Absolutely. I think we move to Rudra because Rudra must have uploaded his sheet. It must be waiting. And then we'll take the next student. Rudra, are you ready?
Yeah, ma'am, I have uploaded.
Okay, now, if this is your starting point, which one is your starting point? How did you start?
So, ma'am, actually, construction is going on in my house. So, I took I got a nail. So, but I got came through different type of nails. So, I came from looking at nails. I got an idea that we can use it as in a logo that weight lifts up the weight of the frame or maybe something. So, like a idea behind it.
Okay, so this may have started with a nail. This may have started with a nail, but now the way you have interpreted it, especially in this option on the final sheet. So what is happening is there is a continuous movement which is happening. Step 1, and then the orientation changes. Step 2, then the orientation changes. Step 3, and then it rotates further. Right? So what does this connote? इसका क्या मतलब हो? What do you interpret of this form?
So, ma'am, in that I thought of if something is in a process or it is loading to a result into.
Okay. So what I want you to do now is write a concept note for this.
Okay.
Okay. Look at your brief. Write a concept note for this because this form you definitely must take forward. Besides exploring more.
Okay.
Okay?
Sure, ma'am.
Write a
Yeah,
concept
sure.
note for this. That's why I wanted to see what your process has been.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, but explore more, huh?
Yeah.
Ma'am, can I share now?
Can I? Kavya, go ahead. Aisha.
So, ma'am, the first one, this I showed day before yesterday, so it is exactly similar like what Ankit showed and what you suggested to Samriddhi. Like making like the one which is like reading Isain, the first one. Devanshi, can you zoom into that one?
We can't hear you.
Ma'am, can you hear me now? No, not this one, Devanshi, the first sheet. So, ma'am, this the first idea I showed on the day before yesterday. So you suggested me some same things which you like said today to Ankit, like architecture. Also, to I thought of very similar ideas which you suggested to somebody, like making stairs and stars and
So
keyhole.
where are those? Can we see
No,
those
ma'am,
ideas?
I'm still exploring more forms, but
Okay.
I had these ideas in
No,
my mind to take
no
this.
problem. You take them forward. No
Okay.
problem.
Even if it's the same idea that all of you are taking forward, it's everyone could interpret it differently. So if you have the idea, don't be kind of shy to take it forward.
Okay, ma'am. Yeah, that's it.
Ma'am, I'm sharing this screen. Is my screen visible? So, ma'am, in first and second one, I tried
Yeah, it is
incorporating
BOD and NU and yeah, you can skip that seriously. Honestly.
Alright.
If you have anything different,
In fourth one, I tried giving the progressive nature of the Department of Design, and the circle shows the infinity. In sixth one, I have two different like this. So depicts water lilies, and after uh, like I tried to show water lilies in these two
yeah, got it.
petals, and then in I think I'll skip this also.
No, these are
In
nice.
ninth one,
Actually.
in an
Your tenth one and the first one also. I'm sorry I interrupted. The first one that you had, no, which is numbered first on top. Explain that also. That's also quite interesting. This one, the first idea.
yeah, this one, right?
Yeah, explain this one.
Okay, ma'am. Then in ninth one, in an abstract way, I tried forming a spiral and tried to give this spiral a dynamic in nature. And in tenth one, and tried these two, but I feel that first top one is much more dynamic. Then in tenth one, I have shown D and a spiral staircase. Then 11th one, I'm not sure about it, but and in 12th one, I tried giving a keyhole and gave it like it maybe unlock the dreams or unlock the opportunities. Then in 13th one, just an like related to nature, like it's of flowy nature, active, and circle may depict the infinity. And 14th one, it's still incomplete, like I was trying something.
Can you explain the first idea?
Yeah, ma'am. So first one, I tried writing IOD. And in D, I tried the architectural element, that is the staircase. And design.
Write while I don't see any IoT here, but whatever is happening is very interesting to me. Especially, what you've done visually. I don't know, it's accidental or it's planned. There are these two squares here, one here and one here, and they are at a diagonal.
Yes, ma'am.
Something very interesting happening, and I can't think of a narrative, but it's possible to build a story around this.
Okay, ma'am. I will try doing something on that.
So it is also continuous, it is a continuous line. So it can be looked like this and reaching here. It's very interesting what is happening here. Can you just show me some of the other options on other sheets?
Yeah, ma'am. Just a second.
Even here, something about this visual, the stent, I really find it very interesting.
Ma'am, 9th one.
I like the 10th more, but
Yeah.
because what is happening is that it's giving me a feeling that it is continuously developing.
Yes, ma'am.
So maybe you could explore it further and see where it takes you. It's quite interesting. And also write a concept. What if this was also to be filled? Just one thought.
Yeah. Okay. I'll
So basically, when you explore the form, you try various things. Try different thicknesses. Try the spiral from thick to thin. Try the spiral with uniform thickness. It's quite interesting. And try the concept before you start exploring the form, you write a concept. 9th, I'm not too sure. Maybe even you can give your thoughts on this.
I think I agree with you. I think the 10th one, the idea of this square going into like a circular sort of spiral is more interesting. That it gives me this idea of transition rather than I think it's just visually more interesting. I agree with everything Priya said.
All right, ma'am.
You can definitely, I think there are some possibilities of making this work.
Sorry, ma'am. Can you repeat?
I said that there are some strong possibilities with this. You can definitely take it forward.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Can I share my screen?
Yeah. You still scratching?
Yes, ma'am. So, ma'am, in the 11th and 12th one, I started with the concept of having an odd element to show inclusivity yet, distinctiveness. So that's how the 11th and 12th one have come. And for the 12th one, I took inspiration from the existing arrows of the current 9 square logo of DoD. Then the 13th one, so in 13th, all the elements have different shapes, but so my idea was, that different ideas exist at a single place, but all of them have a space to flourish. But there's also a square boundary which unites all those ideas and opinions. So yeah, that was my concept behind that. And the 14th one, I started with a square and a normal lowercase n and u, but then I exaggerated the vertical bars towards the opposite side. So that's how I termed it professional yet quirky. And even the 15th one has a similar beginning, but now that I say it, it is very similar to the existing Redo Fest's identity.
And the 16th one, so the word avant-garde, how I read about it was that it is something which is radical or unconventional or breaking stereotypes. So the yeah, so what I thought about it was that the sun could represent a new beginning or kind of rising above the stereotype sort of a thing. So I took the triangles as a very very crude form of mountains and then the sun as the circle. Then the 17th one is again a similar idea that different opinions come together, even though they might not be having a common ground, but still they come together and form a harmony. Then the 18th one started with the idea of the arch that the campus has, and then it again came to the concept of collaborative ideas and yeah, how the institute provides an umbrella for all the ideas to germinate. And the 19th one, so the starting was the square, but this U sort of a thing is the bowl of N and a lowercase n and U. So how I thought about it was it is kind of overshadowing the square and kind of like a challenge sort of a thing. It's breaking the monotony of the square and yeah, that's how I thought it was professional yet quirky. And for the last one, the two bars are growing out of the space. So the concept was breaking the boundaries and going beyond the conventions. Yeah, that's all.
Which ones do you think are promising for you to take forward?
Ma'am, I think 13th, 16th, 18th, and maybe 19th also.
Okay. Can you go on?
Yes, ma'am, I had to stop the annotation for that.
Sure.
Stop.
I kind of liked the 12th one as well. I think just going off of the idea of the existing logo, I think an arrow is, of course, very powerful in that, it suggests direction and growth. And I think the idea of having a triangular form in a line in itself is quite powerful. I think one thing that you can do with your arrows is, the proportion of them is becoming rectangular. I think you need to make them into a square kind of proportion. I think play around with the thickness, the proportion of the arrows to, maybe arrive at an interesting solution. And the other thing I think we want to look at in this is the kind of white space that's being formed by the form itself. It shouldn't be awkward at any tips.
Yes,
I think the 13th one is also quite interesting in its modular approach. In the 16th one, I don't know if it is intentional, if the top left triangle was kind of impinging into that space on purpose, is it?
sorry,
So that the space is not uniform, even the 16th one, the negative space.
yes, ma'am. Oh, it wasn't intentional, no.
So that to me is more avant-garde when because it's creating tension. Like that kind of starting out like really narrow and then it's becoming.
Okay, maybe like the road is becoming narrow or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, like I think avant-garde. The idea of avant-garde is to cause a disturbance in some way. So if you look at there's this artist called Malevich, and one of his artworks was just painting this black square. But one of the sides of the square was just slightly tilted. And I think this leads to the idea of a square just being this very stable form that, if you take one of the sides even a little bit, it creates this amazing tension and it inhibits you to that. So for me, that kind of unintentional thing is more avant-garde than, the rest of it. I find that interesting. I think you have some interesting possibilities, Kathy, to take forward.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah, I mean, definitely there are some interesting things happening. But actually, I just want to ask you this question that you just interpreted it's one single word avant-garde. And like, for example, this is what specifically is to avant-garde. For me, it is definitely creating a lot of visual text. If I look at it, not being aware of the word avant-garde, will it then work as an identity? That's a question that you need to answer. Because it definitely is creating a lot of visual text. That's something that you need to think about. If you were to remove that word avant-garde and just look at it, the word of the word avant-garde, then what kind of communication is happening?
Okay.
Will it then work for an identity? That's my question to you, and you will figure it out. When I was looking at this, what I thought was that the idea itself, the form is very strong. So if you were to take the same form, if you were to build like a staircase inside this, right? Build a staircase inside this, and it is leading you to this. So you have like a very solid space but dynamic because moving ahead. So you'll have to see what is dark there and figure it out. And then do some exploration with this. Then it definitely has this very sort of literal connotation to it.
Okay.
Like you're reaching for the sky or the moon, you're reaching for the stars. So that kind of a thing.
Ma'am, now that I think about it, like you said, if I remove the word, it might look like the logo of a resort or something.
Is it looking like a logo of a resort?
If I thought of it that way, maybe.
No, if this road becomes like a winding road, या curve आ जाएगा ना सबको लगेगा resort. But because curves नहीं है यहाँ पे, because it's too sharp, so it doesn't get that feel.
Okay.
At least not to me. Little bit of curve also will make that difference and make it feel like a winding road. So you could try that approach also instead of a staircase if it like becomes like a winding road. And then like you reaching the moon. Okay, then what happens? Okay. So basically what I'm saying is visually explore this idea is very powerful.
Okay.
And the others, I don't know, I'm not too sure.
Should I go down?
You can go down. And you've been listening to feedback since morning, isn't it?
Yes,
You know what to do.
Yes.
I think we can. Are there more students you didn't show yesterday?
Thank you, ma'am.
Are you done?
Excuse me, Hazel ma'am, what was the name of the artist you mentioned starting from M?
Maledich. I'll write it down.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am, can I show mine now?
Who's this Rishabh? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
You didn't show yesterday, Rishabh?
No, ma'am. I was working on more explorations on yesterday. So So I started with few of the doodles. Just yeah. Started few of the doodles. So one of the ideas that I made on the first day was this form which I made it look like the a chain link. So it's my idea of collaborative. So I thought that since it's a university and so to show collaboration, show it in a chain link way. And I've done it in such a way as that the NN is it visible now? Yeah, I have shown it in such a way such that the N and U are from the top and the bottom part of the chain, and the in between part would be the name of the department or any other institute. So this was my idea, and I tried making a few different iterations for those. Yeah. So, and then this was also another just a. No, could you just give me a minute? I'll just reshare my screen.
Mission has finished.
No, ma'am, no. There's some issue in the concept board. It showed the service has been interrupted. So I'll just share it directly from my computer. Yeah. So is it visible now, ma'am? The screen. Yeah. So these are again one of the earlier iterations that I was making while I arrived at this chain link idea. And these are a few more where I tried thinking about the arches and like the overall how the university looks like. I just because when I was thinking about this, I realized that almost all the institutes or the buildings that are there, the entrance is an arch. So I tried to make something in that line. And so, for example, in this particular one here, like you can, this particular one here that I've shown, like here I tried to make this double integrated arch where in the center the discipline or the name of the institute or department can be written. So such that the NU and then design is here. This particular one I didn't go forward with much because I felt this was too illustration like. So again, in the initial day, I had this particular idea about integrating N and U into a paper clip so that I seem to show that everything has been held together. But when I tried to do it, I felt it was very illustration like. These are a few more these are a few more just rough sketching, and I tried to make a different version of the same one that I showed previously, where I tried to integrate the arches in both the N and U and with design written in between. And here is a little more rough exploration that I made initially. Even in here, I tried to show a link and collaboration. So by showing the N and U as a single path, as almost like a single path, and just to give I gave a minor division here so that it can be distinguished. Here I have tried to make it like in a very abstract way, such that to show closure, I try to get out the characters of N and U. This is another idea that I tried out where I thought to show that how everything is, the DoD is a part of the entire Nirma University thing. So I made the letters, very simple letter form that I created using the N and U, and I tried to put the DOD here in between. So this can be replaced by the other institute also, but as of now, since we're doing for DOD, I
Rishabh,
integrated
do you
this.
have like some very different idea which is away from NU and COD?
No, I exploring on these particular ideas.
Rishabh, I think you need to explore more. Because the way you're doing DOD inside, you know the basics. When the size of the logo is reduced, then these will just become three tiny dots. They won't be visible. They won't be read as DOD. So what's the point of having something like that? And rest of them are only NNU and people. So do you have like something which is different from that?
No, I have to explore more.
Can you go back, Rishabh, and make it to the second page?
This page.
Yeah, proceed. I think that this one sort of is interesting.
Okay.
I think the kind of tension that it creates but still being balanced. I mean, I think referencing the architecture, I find this one interesting. Can you pull up one more?
Yes, ma'am. Just a minute. Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah. So if you take this idea of the paperclip, I think if
Yes,
it
ma'am.
is, you still reference a paperclip, but what if you were just to indicate like a line to show, that it's holding some, or maybe a couple of lines. I don't know. But like simplify this whole kind of illustration.
Yes, ma'am. I can try that.
I think all in all, Rishabh, I think you need to get building narratives a little more.
Yeah.
I think everything that we spoke about, mind mapping and all that. I think that you have the potential to go a little bit deeper, and I think you'll arrive at more interesting ideas. I think right now you restricted yourself to NUTOD, but when you move away from that, you actually arrive at more interesting things. So take some time to go back to the drawing board, rethink some of the stuff, and then move it. I'm sure you will have some problems.
Yes, ma'am.
Rishabh, can you go back on the previous page?
Sorry, ma'am. I couldn't hear you.
Can you go back on the previous page?
Ma'am, this is the.
Yes, stay here. Just give me the right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, if you were to move away from Nirma University and just take the end of Nirma, remove this part. Then, this forms a very interesting visual.
Okay, ma'am.
The whole three-dimensionality of the arts, and on top of that, there is N. So, whatever that we name our institute of design or department of design, it still will be a part of Nirma.
Yeah.
Nirma is your parent. So having an N, having an arts, and having written design beneath it, for me that's a complete story.
Okay.
So I'm sorry I overlooked it earlier, but when Hazel got you back to this page, I noticed this and felt that this is a very interesting thing happening here. So this is quite interesting. I feel you must take this forward, and of course Hazel has asked you to work on this, but clearly more ideas.
Yes, ma'am. Definitely.
So this, I think, the bottom of it needs to be dropped. You don't have to restrict yourself to do. It is Nirma design. So M, the arch and the design. And you have to then see whether this is going to be like this or this will be slightly curved here. What will be the height of it? What will be the width of it? All those things, of course, when you explore further, you will know how to evolve the form. Okay?
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am. I'll stop sharing.
I think you were the last person. Well, I think we've seen everyone's work.
Nikki here.
Yeah.
Nikki.
Vicky.
Yes, ma'am. Even I was there. Should I share now?
Vicky, go ahead.
Ma'am, is it visible? So yeah, this were the before ones which I did. So I'll explain few of them. In 18th, I tried showing the flow and consistency, while in 2021, I tried showing collaborative nature and also its boldness. So yeah, talking about this, in the 25th one, it is a nature inspired, where it forms a shape of a side view of leaf, and it also seems like 2Ds. Then in the 26th, it's like a continuous progress and growth. While in 27, 28, I tried showing collaborative nature using like a 2Ds. Then in 29, as we have two branches, so there is this emerging from a circle, and it also seems like a fountain which are in the campus. Then in the 30th, for me it looks like a bird, though I tried emerging 2Ds, and yeah. Then in the 31st, it more shows like a collaboration, and this one also for me it seems like a bird. Then in the 32, it shows a growth of the university. It also looks like a side view of a leaf, and also it forms the shape of a D. Then this one, like I felt interesting, as in 33 I tried showing N and U, and in 34th it looks like N and U as well as D and D. So yeah, these were the new ones, and I've explored this one, which you suggested in the before. The first one is the original form. Then these are the explorations. Yes, ma'am. That's it.
You want to go ahead, Hazel?
Sure. I think, like a lot of people, Nikki, I feel like, when you move away from the NUDOD, you're actually arriving at more interesting place. In this one, I actually still like your original form the most. That's still the most appealing to me. And then the sixth one is also, even the seventh one is interesting. Yeah, the first and the seventh one I think is interesting. Can you go back? Yeah, 32 is also, I think it has a lot of possibilities. What do you think in terms of what you want to take forward?
Yes, ma'am. Even I like the 32nd one. Also, I like the 29.
I think you need to articulate your ideas in terms of the piece. I think Kanutri has been saying that you guys need to write a note. I really think you do. Because I think that will help you kind of validate some of your ideas. I don't know. Do you feel like you can explore forms a little more versus just any BOD?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you go back to the previous page?
This one or this one?
Okay, next. Can you go forward one? Yeah, I definitely think there's some interesting possibilities with 32. I think see how that corresponds to your brief, see how many boxes it is off from there. And I think definitely add shade to it and see, what abstractions you can get out of it. Push it as much as you can. Thank you. You want to add something? Anupriya?
Absolutely agree with what you're saying. She needs a bit of more explanation on some of these ideas she can take forward, especially that in the first and the sixth one, and they are the most seem most appropriate at the moment. Can you go to that page where you explore that parent form and created 7 to 8 iterations of that? So I absolutely agree. I think the parent form still is working well, and this one's working. Maybe, I don't know. A lot of you might disagree with me. Just for the sake of exploration, if you were to add like a head here, then what happens? Just for the sake of an exploration. Does it become like too cliche? Maybe. It's good as it is, but just for the sake of exploration. And the other ideas that you've been showing, I think Hazel has pointedly told you that which ones you could take. Okay? So I'll leave it at that.
Thank you, ma'am.
Is everyone done? Are there any more? Now should we proceed, Kanupriya?
So even if we divide ourselves into groups, would second half be sufficient because I have a meeting at 3?
I think even if you didn't have a meeting, I don't think it's sufficient. Also, has everyone worked enough to be able to take one forward, but do you still want time to explore? Because I think it's pointless going through everyone's only to arrive at the conclusion that you need to explore policy.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
And you guys really
MVP, Navya, can you please respond?
Ma'am, I need time today also to explore more further.
Does everyone feel that way?
Yes, ma'am.
All the people we showed
No,
yesterday.
my worry is also, sir, if they will not explore, they will all sit down and finish their typography submission. The time design. How many of you all have submitted?
Ma'am, it was today morning, the typography submissions. That's done.
Everybody's done?
Yes, ma'am.
Which is why they need time now.
Yeah, because that's why they've not worked at all. Nobody's done anything. You can take time if you all want. We don't have a problem. But tomorrow then you have to bring so many options that you're able to choose one and finalize it by Saturday. And by finalizing it by Saturday, I mean the entire process, resolving it on the system with the logo type and with the color. Because next week we are moving to a lot of other things that to be done, like developing a system, designing the collateral, designing a visual language, designing the collaterals, merchandise, different media that you've identified which need in which the system needs to be incorporated. So much that needs to be done. So next week we're going to start with that process. So this needs to, I think after tomorrow, after today, we can't give you more time on thinking about or ideating on the logos.
If you guys take time today, by tomorrow, we want to be able to finalize one route for each person to take ahead, refine. Next, add typography, add color, work out your block-ups. With all that by Saturday, aim to finish it by Saturday. Does anybody want feedback? Does anybody want to show anything? Anyone feeling stuck? Okay.
Okay, so in that case, I think we can give them time, Hazel, let them ideate. Switch on your videos. Every time you have to tell you to switch on your videos. People, please.
I can stay in the meeting till about 12:30 in case anybody has anything that they think of that they want to ask done by us.
There are no responses. So what should we do? Should we end the meeting now? Do you want time? You all need time to explore more?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
But you all need time. But tomorrow, then everybody has to be ready with lots of options.
Think of this in terms of a client project. So, like you work out so many options and then, you need at least 3 to 5 strong points from which you yourself need to narrow down, right? So tomorrow we'll let you with a few really good options that you would be happy to take for and would be excited to work. Okay, I guess we can conclude for the day.
Ma'am, can I show the variations that I made from the yesterday's work, like that I showed you yesterday?
Yeah, so then you want to see, Hazel?
I mean, if Vaidini feels like she speak back or something.
Ma'am, because I worked on yesterday, the logos that you selected yesterday, so if it's not working, I can work on other ideas. So
Okay, go ahead.
Sure.
Ma'am, so I tried the few variations of the loading ones. So I tried different variations in the terms of directions, and also I tried merging the infinity one with this one. And in this spiral one, I tried to extend it to look like it's moving forwards. So I tried to do that in that. And in the one that I rejected, I tried the width one, different widths. And I tried to add in this, the double D one, I tried to make the loading symbol with certain gradation to it looks more like it's loading. And the pixel and the steps one, I try to add a box so to see if it makes any difference as a visual. So I tried these variations.
I think it's quite interesting the variations you tried in the first row. I feel quite excited by those possibilities actually, even in terms of extension. In the bottom one, I can definitely see a very Joseph Cromwell Muller installation. Did
Yes,
you look
ma'am.
at his work? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
I think, by the like just see in terms of that, like I actually really love the movement that's happening, and I can see it relate to the trees in many ways. Um, my only concern is what happens when you reduce it. Do some of the lines become too small or too thin, or actually more than the lines to the gaps, like the white spaces, they shouldn't start to show when you reduce it. So I think as an idea and visually, I really like it. I think it's about working out the logistics of it now versus the idea. I think you have a lot of strong ideas. It's just I think now seeing how much you can push them visually. With the one in the second row, I think you can try techniques because I feel like where the lines are breaking up, it's an interesting idea, but do they become too fine and start to show? Personally, I think you have a lot of strong ideas.
Thank you.
I like where you come.
Yeah, I agree with you, Jesus. The only thing that I can see a possibility in this one is that instead of having like a continuous line here, do you want to break it somewhere? Maybe somewhere here.
I have tried breaking it here somewhere.
Yeah, you broke it.
In some places, I tried breaking it.